joining us. I know you have a very hectic schedule. You've been traveling constantly.
No
And
problem.
where are you today? In which city?
I'm in Dallas today.
Okay, great, great, wonderful. So we have a presentation from you. If that's okay, we'll
Yes,
straight jump into it. Jim,
sure,
in the meantime, would you like to say a few words about Infosys and what you are doing in US?
sure, sure. So I'll quickly introduce. Of course, Infosys, as you all know, it's like an almost a $19 billion company. We are focused on technology consulting and services work in the information technology space as well as the technology space. We obviously are a very well-known brand as well as a tech services company, and pretty much are visible across all the magic quadrants and leadership rankings, as well as our brands of Cobalt and Aster and Topaz, which are the flagship brands. So our strategy at Infosys is very simple. We are focused on what we call as digital first, cloud first, and AI first. That's basically our thought process. My name is Anant Adya, and I am the executive vice president and responsible for one cloud infrastructure cybersecurity at Infosys, which is one of our service offering or the service that we offer to many of our global customers. Number two, Cobalt, which is our cloud brand. So we have all our cloud offerings under one brand called Cobalt. So I lead Cobalt for Infosys. And we have 37,000 of our employees who work in Americas, which includes United States, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Peru, Costa Rica. So I'm responsible for delivery in America. So I'm the head of America's delivery, based in Dallas, and been with Infosys for 17 years now. So very glad to be on the call, and thank you for the invitation and thank you for the opportunity. Ani, you are on mute, Ani.
Sorry. We wanted you to be in the program in person, Anant, but it didn't work out.
No problem.
Schedule-wise, but would love to welcome you in Atlanta and Georgia Tech in our future programs.
Absolutely, totally, totally. And apologies for not making it in person, but surely next time. So
Definitely.
what I wanted to cover today is I wanted to talk about the enterprise AI solutions and cloud. At Infosys, one of the things that we say is cloud and AI are pretty much synonymous, right? I mean, we have to work together, and cloud cannot exist without AI, and AI cannot be successful without cloud, right? So there's a lot of interdependencies, as we say, and that is what is our narrative in terms of what we are trying to do with cloud and AI. Quickly moving on to the next slide. So essentially, one of the things we are saying is there is a lot of discussion around enterprise AI, right? I mean, if you look at AI in general, it is split into what we call as consumer AI and enterprise AI. While consumer AI is pretty sort of famous and a lot of usage and a lot of adoption by the general population and by a lot of consumers like you and I, enterprise AI is going through its own set of sort of adoption, I would say, journey or adoption challenges. And essentially, the way enterprises are looking at AI is in three broad buckets, right? So one is how can they leverage AI for the work where somebody can assist them. And when I say somebody, I'm talking about technologies and agents and bots and those kind of things. So how can you use assistance when you are analyzing a lot of data, or you want to make the information accessible to you through vast databases and stuff like that, and also take decisions based on how you analyze the data, right? I mean, taking decisions and making taking actions. I think that's one aspect where they're looking at AI. The second area where they're using AI in a big way is to augment the work that is being done by humans. And this is where we are talking about a lot of work will be done by machines or bots or AI agents, as we call it. And humans will get involved only when critical actions have to be taken or critical decisions have to be taken. Essentially, these augmentations that we are talking about is where repetitive and mundane tasks can be carried without any human intervention with more efficiency and accuracy, right? So that's the second area where enterprises are looking at AI. And the third one is autonomous operations, as we call it, also autonomous work, which is where you are looking at how can we basically use AI to focus on outcomes and focus on business outcomes, right? So I think these are three broad areas, right? So how can you use them for assist? How can you use them for augmentation? And how can you for automation? So one thing which is very clear and we say this all the time, is AI is not about replacing jobs or getting rid of jobs, but AI is all about how can we amplify the human potential to do more, right? So that's essentially how AI is being looked at in the enterprise side. Quickly moving on to the next slide. So essentially, if you look at what are the challenges, right, the enterprises are facing. So number one, which is extremely important, is the visibility of the process itself. I think no AI is successful unless you understand the entire process and the entire journey, entire customer journey, as we call in some cases. How do you basically make sure that you understand the business process, you understand the technology process, and try to bring them together when they are predominantly working in a very siloed way, right? I think that's the first thing that has to be addressed in terms of how you become more digital, how you increase the digital density in the way processes are being run in the company, right? So I think that is number one. Number two is the business agility, as we call it. So I think there is a lot of process overhead when it comes to how decisions are taken in the business, right? Whether it is approvals or workflows or the decisions that has to be taken in terms of rollout and time to market and all of that. So there is a lot of standardization that is required when it comes to creating agility in the way businesses are run. So I think that's the second challenge that the enterprises are trying to fix. And the third one, which is the most important one, is getting the enterprise data ready for AI. As you all know, there is a lot of data in enterprises. There is structured data, there is unstructured data, and there is data lying in multiple databases, in documents, in Excel sheets, many places, including papers and digital, non-digital documents. And essentially, how do you get the enterprise data ready for AI is the third big challenge. And last but not the least, I think it's also a big decision in terms of what are the models from a technology standpoint that need to be leveraged, given that right from hosting the applications and the workloads and the infrastructure to how do you basically bring in responsible AI into the responsible and ethical AI into the way you do things, right? So I think these are some of the challenges that we are seeing, which enterprises are trying to address. Quickly moving on to the next slide. So essentially what we are doing, right, at Infosys. So we were very early on. We came together and said that AI and cloud, along with of course the other ecosystems like applications and business process, and all of them have to work together. So we created something called we actually created something called a fluid and timeless enterprise, right? So essentially, if you look at any enterprise today, it is very fixed, and it is not agile, and there is a lot of issues with respect to digital density and the way work is being done, the way processes are handled, the way business is agile and adaptable and stuff like that. So we created this reference architecture, which is our thought process, which is called creating a fluid and timeless enterprise. So what do we mean by fluid? So fluid is all about making sure that it is adaptable, it is agile, and timeless means that it is not created for either first year or either for 3 years or 5 years, but it is timeless, which means it is created for the future, and you don't have to really reinvent the wheel. as and when your business is changing, right? So essentially what we have done is, on the left side is all the challenges that the enterprises are facing, and on the right side are all the outcomes that the enterprises want to deliver, whether it is about experience or it is about growth and profitability. It is about being resilient, and it is always about trying to innovate and create more opportunities and products and experiences for the consumers, right? So if we look at what we have done in this reference architecture is, if you look at from top to bottom, it's all about enterprises trying to become more autonomous, which means that they have to derive the value from AI and other things that they're doing. For that to happen, you have to go to the layer which actually generates a lot of data, which is all the intelligent applications. So you can't get AI happen without getting enterprise data ready for AI, which is the second layer. And for you to get the enterprise data ready for AI and for you to run intelligent applications, you need to have a robust technology foundation, which is cloud. So essentially, that is what we are trying to say. So for you to get the enterprise ready for AI, you need to have a very robust foundation of cloud, which is why cloud and AI are actually working together, right? And when we do that, we're essentially saying that security, privacy, and sustainability has to be embedded in the design. So essentially, our message to the enterprises is that you need to rejuvenate the way things are being done to become more digital, to become more connected, to become more integrated in your process. And once you do that, you need to start innovating in the way you do things, in the way you take decisions. And once you do those two things, you can then start looking at how can you become a pioneer in your industry by leveraging the power of AI to derive business value. So that's essentially what we are saying, that we want to create a future ready enterprise with unlimited potential, adopting cloud and AI for the enterprise, right? So that's our model and our message. Moving on to the next slide. So this is essentially what our thought processes, right? So how do you move from experimentation to enterprise scale deployment, right? So today, if you look at it, there is a lot of POCs, there's a lot of proof, like pilots, and some of these experimentation that is happening with AI. But the adoption, while it is happening, it is not happening at enterprise scale, right? So it is very important for us to see how you can move from experimentation to enterprise scale deployment. And that is something that requires three things, right? Number one is access to very powerful AI tools, because you have to be very fast. Your speed to market is very, very important, and you can't just do it with people, but you have to bring tools and technologies to make that happen, right? So access to a very, very powerful, robust enterprise AI tools is the first thing that is required. Number two is how can we basically build something which can scale, right? So a scale is something which is very, very critical, right? So when you build anything, whether it's a product or you build a experience or you build a technology solution or you build an app, there is always a question that comes in, that how will you make sure that it can scale? Today maybe it is being used by 500 users or 1,000 users. What if 5,000 users have to use it, or 25,000 users have to use it? So it's very important to build these solutions which can scale, right? So that's the second most important thing. And the third one, when we do this, it's not just about bringing the right tools and technologies or building solutions that can scale, but it also has to be cost effective, right? I mean, because economics plays a very big role. So how do we make sure it's cost effective? So these are the three things that are very, very critical for you to move from experimentation to enterprise scale, and that can happen with the power of cloud, because cloud can make all of this happen. Today there are a lot of tools that are available on cloud. There is a lot of scale that we can bring on the cloud. You don't have to really wait for infrastructure to be deployed or applications to be deployed or network and security to be implemented. All of this can happen within seconds with the power of cloud. So I think that's essentially what we are trying to say, that if the enterprises have to overcome the challenges and move from experimentation to enterprise scale deployment, cloud is imperative for that. I mean, cloud has to be there, and cloud can make that happen for you. So that's essentially what we're saying. And quickly moving on to the next slide, I think this is essentially what I wanted to quickly sort of focus on is across all industry segments, right? AI is bringing a lot of value. So if you look at AI, it's not about automating some incidents or tickets or looking at call center, contact center. While AI plays a big role in that space, but there are a lot of these uh, AI use cases that we are talking about, which cuts across multiple industries, right? So, like for example, the first one is the customer service chatbot, right? So one of our clients in the healthcare space, who is in the payer space, have been able to improve the efficiency of the call center, contact center agent by bringing AI powered chatbots into their call center, contact center framework, right? So essentially, the amount of time that they are taking now to respond to the patients who are calling them for claims processing or claims approval has actually improved by 40%, right? So I think this is one very, very critical area when it comes to customer service, especially in the healthcare space or in the hospitality space, or in any other areas where there are retail consumers like you and I, right? So I think that is helping us a lot. Number two is manufacturing. So if you look at manufacturing, one of the big issues for the manufacturers is the machines and the control systems and the plants and the equipments that are used in the plants, right? So how can we get more predictive, and how can we prevent the issues from happening in the first place, so there is no downtime in production, right? So I think that's the second thing that we are seeing a lot of use cases. And the third one is, of course, personalized marketing, right? The marketing today is very, very like broad based, and it is actually like carpet bombing, if you ask me. But there are a lot of these personalized marketing that is actually working very, very effective. It's very effective for retailers and for a lot of folks in the consumer tech industry, and e-commerce businesses are utilizing AI to sort of drive sort of the consumer behavior and target those consumers, right? So I think that's the third use case. Finally, go to the next slide. Summarizing, I think essentially, if you look at what we are trying to do is AI, of course, is changing every day. There are new technologies, there are new solutions, there are new sort of use cases that are coming. We also recently saw DeepSeek being launched by China, which was built with a few $1 million, unlike a lot of them who said that it takes some hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars to build and adopt AI. We saw what China has been able to do. So I think this technology is changing every day. There are advancements in AI which we have to basically keep tab of. I know we need to make sure that we become more smarter and more quicker in terms of how we basically use AI in our enterprise. Second is it is absolutely important to use cloud to make AI consumable, right? I think it will give you efficiency, it will give you scale, it will give you availability, it will give you cost sort of benefits. So I think using cloud will make it much more easy. And last but not the least, I think a lot of things will not just happen in the big data centers and in the cloud, but there is also a lot of work happening at the edge, which is at the place where there is work happening, right? Whether it is manufacturing plants or retail banks or a store that is being run. So those kind of things, right? So I think this is what is a summary. And obviously, we, like every other enterprise, is very excited about this place. The last statement I would make is at Infosys, we believe that you have to eat your own dog food. So we almost 2 years back started focusing on how we should become enterprise AI first within the organization. So we have adopted AI in many of our functions, from HR to finance to marketing to core operations. So we are becoming AI first and then going and telling clients how to do it. So I think that's essentially my message, and I wanted to just pause and see if anybody has any questions.
Right. Anand, thank you for a wonderful presentation. I have one question. What percentage of your client are going forward with AI adoption in their functionalities and operations, and of which industry is leading in towards moving towards AI?
So if you ask me, when it comes to experimentation, POCs, almost all our clients are actually leveraging AI and doing POCs and pilots. Close to 30% of our clients have actually taken use cases into production, right? And the way we look at use cases, they are broadly in four buckets. One is summarization, as to how you can summarize the documents, and how can you summarize the content, and how can you summarize the data. That's one use case. Second is generation, where you can generate content and generate code and generate anything that you want to sort of do, whether it is PPTs or images or music or any of that sort. The third use case is experience, which is all about how can we drive better experience. And the fourth use case is operations. So most of our customers, the adoption is mostly in generation, experience, and operations, right? So these are the three broad buckets. The industries that are leading this is, of course, number one is retail, CPG, and logistics. That's the first industry. Second is banking, which is financial services and insurance. And the third one is manufacturing. So these are the three big focus areas. Of course, there is healthcare and, of course, high tech and communications. They're also doing a lot, but these are the three leading industries for us.
Great, great, wonderful. Well, Anant, I want to thank you. We have our next speaker also lined up here, but I have a request. In about 5, 6 months, we are going to be doing a big conference totally focused on the AI side. And
Brilliant.
due time from your busy calendar to be present in Atlanta in person, would love to
Absolutely.
hear some remarks further.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Ali. Look
Thank you.
forward to meeting you. Yeah. Bye bye.